In terms of an actor, how do you compose a character that there are some things you don't know? For example, there's a lot of nuances and details that your character said. I remember that day in Vienna when we had that meal, for example. And so, how do you compose a mysterious character that you as an actor, you don't even know the whole picture?
That's part of the fun of doing a television show, as opposed to, it's really what separates a television show from a film. Is that you have to be fluid in the performance of that character, because especially in this show where things are not always as they appear. I told the writers when we started that I really needed to know certain things to be able to perform it, but I didn't want to know a lot more because I wanted to be surprised as much as the next person. I had a revelation that I never had even thought in terms of the first time I did a television series, was that I've never been a great TV watcher. But when I started doing the first television series that I did, I started to understand why it is that television viewers, why they're compelled to tune in the next week, is they have such anticipation for what the next surprise may be, or the next direction. And I didn't want to take that away from myself. I like that. I also like working in films where you know the beginning and the middle of the end, but I like the fact that even if I have an understanding for the beginning and I have an understanding for the end, that the middle is circuitous.
In terms of economic crisis, people tend to go to individualistic characters who are against the government and against the paradigm of what is the rules of the state. So do you think that character embodies that in terms of?
I think what he does is he lives in a parallel universe to a great degree. And I think he respects certain aspects of the state, but he disregards other aspects. But his profession allows him to live outside of many parameters that are set by any state. He also travels a great deal and he functions in the sort of greater world around us. So his allegiances are unclear.
But also he's very sentimental because there's an episode when he hires an entire dance company for a ballet performance. So do you think that we're gonna tackle more into that part of him?
Yes.
In what aspects?
The relationships that matter to him and the memories from his life that matter to him. And there are many things in his life and his past and his future that he holds very dear, and those things in small increments are allowed to play out on the show. And I think that it's, in many ways, the very small things that he cherishes reveal the most about him.
Do you see him as a Shakespearean figure? Because he's very tragic. He's like a mixture of Richard III and Macbeth.
Yeah, at different turns, he's different. He's very. Shakespeare covered an awful lot of ground in his work, and Red covers a lot of ground as well.
But do you see as a tragic figure in that sense? Like he's bound to be, he meet his doom.
I don't know if he's self-aware about that. I know that that's really something that an observer would. But There's an inevitability about his life, I think, that he is aware of. The possibilities are higher that it will not end well than they are that it will.
And do you think that that your character is aware of that, or he's so inert in
I think he's aware of it. I mean, he puts himself in such dire circumstances so much of the time, and he's comfortable with that. And the only thing that I can imagine that would drive that confidence and the comfort in that is an acceptance of whatever end that may come. You know, he has a tremendous appreciation for life and all that life has to offer. But I think that comes from the idea that, or the knowledge that could end quickly.
Okay. Well,
and abruptly.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you too.